Pretty bird. Hello, pretty bird.
Alright guys, so that's enough of that nonsense. Here we have it, the big Articuno. I can't even get the whole build in the video because it's kind of tall and then wide at the bottom, and I don't have a big enough sort of filming space, so I'll just show you the top half and then I'll walk through a few things with you guys. Sort of techniques I used, parts usage, the idea behind things, why I did things, why I couldn't do certain things, and hopefully give you a bit of a better insight into my build process. I don't personally like birds. I find them kind of neurotic and scary, but I do like Pokemon and I do like the Legendary Trio, so this is the first one I've built out of the three. Currently I'm working on Zapdos. He's proving kind of difficult to put together, but I'm making progress, so I'm getting there, guys. I do want to get it up to the same quality as this build, and then eventually Moltres, but I haven't thought that far ahead yet. So anyway, guys, I'll take you through the build. So I mean, the first thing that catches people's eye is this ribbon-like tail. It's like the easiest build, but it was the most tedious thing, probably. Besides, you know what? The rock work was the most tedious thing. That took me probably 10 hours of rebuilding. I stripped the whole thing bare, left the center structure, and rebuilt it with dark grey, light grey, tan, and dark tan splashed through it. So yeah, that was probably 9 or 10 hour build. The rock work that sucked. The tail, if you are wondering, it does have flex in it, so it does move around. I can shape it to a degree, and all it basically is just trans light blue and trans dark blue 1x2 plates and round studs in the same color and just offset. I don't know how well this shows up on camera, but once you connect enough of these 1x2 plates and the round studs, it just creates a massive flex. So, like I said, once you have enough, it created that ribbon effect. Initially, very early on, probably when I thought about this build about 5 years ago, I wanted to brick build it with plates and hinges and things, and then it just ended up too big, too bulky, and it didn't flow. So this was such an easy solution. That's the thing. Sometimes you just take a step back and it is super easy once you really think about it. So people are always really drawn to that tail. So I don't know if you guys can see in there, but if I spin that around, you can see there's those Technic bricks there. And I have pins going into the actual base of it. So all that does is just, if I get that, just clip straight on. And it sort of acts like it's an anchor point. So the legs, I'll get Mr. Pointy back, and I'll shake the camera a bit. I'll blame it on an earthquake, but not really. So yeah, like I said, that's the structural, just to keep it upright. But the main anchor point that holds it all together is those two Technic pins. So I mean, really, there's 4 points that hold this whole build together. So it seems like it would be pretty weak, but I've had no troubles, and fingers crossed it stays that way. So I mean, people, I get the kids, they want to, you know, pat the tail and do all sorts of stuff. I'm like, no, don't do that. But anyway, it's survived so far. Now, this is where the build sort of gets interesting at the back. I did a massive rebuild of the back. It was always very sort of half done. I could never really work out how I wanted to do it. It just looked really... It didn't flow, and I always displayed it from the front, so you never really saw the back too much. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was complete, but it was nowhere near what it is now. So, as you can see, I've used those, they're like helicopter blades, but then trans blue. So I have them jutting out from the bottom there. I will just tilt the camera slightly for you guys. If you can see, I have them jutting out the bottom there. So they're sort of like icy translucent feathers, if that makes any sense. Not in the real world, but in Pokemon, yes. Let me just straighten that up for you guys. And then that transitions up into the blue shield. So I don't know how many of those blue shields I bought. They're a newish piece. They're quite expensive, and it was kind of hard to get them in the quantity I needed. I probably ordered, close to 200. I didn't use that many, or close to that many, but you just never know. I always order a few more than what I think I need, because most of the time I use them or I am very close. So I'm usually pretty accurate with my guesses, but if I have a few extras, so be it, you know. I'll always find some other use for them. If that's in the budget for you guys, everyone's different. For me, I don't use LDD, I free build, so I don't know how many pieces I'm going to need. I don't even know what I'm going to need. I just get all my pieces, like for this build, everything that was blue, threw it on a table and just started building, and that's my process. Yeah, everyone else is different, I suppose. Okay, sorry guys, just went a bit off track. So, from the shields, it transitions up to those blue claw pieces. Correct me if I am wrong, but I think I only did get them probably a couple months ago with the new Spider-Man, the Mech Crawler set. I saw those blue claws and I'm like, I was going to buy the set anyway just for the figs, but I had to have those blue claws. I knew they would be perfect for the back. It's not a new piece, but in that color, it could be new. So the set came with 8. I used all 8 and it was just enough. It worked out beautifully, so I was super happy with it. Now, let's just spin him around to the front. Oh god, that's an ugly bird. I don't know what set these little ornate pieces are from, but I found 2 of them here in Australia and I thought they would be fantastic. I was going to use them originally for the eyebrows up top, but I changed my mind and I sort of used it as like a little birdie beard. I don't know. Sometimes you have to take creative liberties when you're building off certain source material. Like Articuno sort of doesn't have all these details in the cartoon. I sort of based it more off fan art. So we'll spin it around. I did rebuild the chest. I made it sort of a bit more puffy and a little bit, I don't know what the word is, but a bit smoother and a bit puffier. That's the only way I can really describe it. Under here I've got the white feathers. That was just an easy little build. You can't really see, but underneath those in there, that's right, I'm doing something not right to this bird here, but I do have the street sweeper. The bristles, they are up in there, but you can't really see them now. If you look close, you can see them. I thought that would be like a really nice feathery effect. And if you are paying enough attention, you can see them and you can appreciate it, but from this angle, you just really can't see it. So, but anyway, I don't like to cut corners. Alright guys, onto the head now. Might be a little bit hard to see. I know it's sort of distracting that I have all my Lego parts in the background there, but it's sort of the best I can do at the moment. The head went through a couple iterations. I'll sort of just spin it around. I did change beak styles. I had a longer, browner beak initially, and yeah, it just wasn't cutting it, to be honest. So I switched up to the silver, and it worked out absolutely beautifully. It was just the perfect piece. That with the silver shield on top there. Perfect. You can see for the crest, I've used 3 separate windshield pieces. So I think they're Nexonites, these 2 at the front here. I think they're fairly new, and then up the top I've got that curved 2 wide windscreen. So the crest, I tried to build the crest in one piece. It was just, no matter what I did, it was too bulky and it would not fit on the head right or look right. So I went more subtle and just attached 3 separate trans blue pieces, and I think it worked out pretty well. If we come to the top here, you can see he's got a row of sort of spiny feathers adorning his head. That was another reason I changed that little neck beard piece from there to there. I thought once I'd changed that to white, that was originally silver, but once I changed to white, I gave it the white sort of eyebrows, and it just all really flowed, so it just had to stay like that. Let me know what you guys think about that. Another part that was quite difficult was the neck, was blending the wings, the wings, the back, and sort of the shoulders into the neck. That proved quite difficult. It is very complicated. It's more than what you can actually see, but I've got sort of builds going left, right, up, down, side to side. It's everywhere. So, but it is quite strong. The head's on a ball joint. It doesn't move. positioned the head where I wanted it and then just built around it, just so the head wasn't facing just straight on. It's on a bit of an angle, so it gives it a bit of life, I think, and a bit of an action pose. So the neck was another part that I had to rebuild. I basically took the whole thing apart and rebuilt it. I should get my English right. I sound really stupid in these videos sometimes. Now let's have a look at the base, the most uninteresting part of the build, but the part that took the longest. Like I mentioned before, guys, the base was the worst part of the build, and I had to do it twice actually. Originally the base was all dark bluish grey and had like white on top and then sort of white speckles to give it the look of snow, but I found the white on top took away from the white on the bird and it clashed too much, whereas making it all browns and greys just gave it its own separate, gave the base its own sort of identity, and it was a contrast to the colours of the bird, so they both sort of stand out from each other. As you can see, I've got slopes and curves just going every which direction. It took forever. Like I said, 9 or 10 hours of rebuilding, tear down and rebuild. I didn't actually have to order any more slopes in, so that was an absolute relief. I had more than enough, so that was great. It was just very, very tedious. Alright, and here is how I store my Articuno. Bit of a sad sight. This is like the original bird box, you could say. Yeah, don't worry about the crappy jokes. It's a little bit sad to have it stored like this, but it makes it good when I take it to shows. I can just pick it up as it is, drop it off on site, and assemble, and I don't have to come home and sort it out. So it has its pros and cons having it like this. It saves me a bit of space, but it's a little bit of a shame not to have it on display all the time. Yeah, that's that. So yeah, he just sleeps on a towel for most of the year. Kind of sad. So this is pretty much the build in all its glory. I can't tell you how many pieces or how many hours it took. I will just say a lot for both, because it was sort of an on and off process. And as far as piece count, like, who knows? The base is solid, probably weighs 5 kilos on its own, but it makes a good support for the actual build. The base was an actual build itself, to be honest. It was a nightmare. I'm sick of mentioning this base. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I hope you found this video interesting and informative. I know everyone can't get to shows I attend, you know, here in Australia, so I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it. I hope you enjoyed. Like I mentioned earlier, Zapdos is next, so if you want to make a progress video on that, just let me know in the comments. And follow me on Instagram, mk_bricks, or sub to my channel. I'd really appreciate it, guys. Means a lot. So I'll catch you in the next video. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next, and I will do my best to get it out there for you, taking recommendations. So I'll catch you in the next video. See you guys.